आत्मचैतन्यमाश्रित्य
आत्मचैतन्यम् आश्रित्य
देहेन्द्रियमनोधियः
देहेन्द्रियमनोधियः
स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते
स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते
सूर्यलोकं यथा जनाः
सूर्यालोकं यथा जनाः
आत्मचैतन्यम् आश्रित्य देहेन्द्रिय मनोधियः स्वक्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्ते सूर्यलोकं यथा जनाः। आत्मबोध verse number 20. In these slokas, first we will see the meaning of the each word, then we will move forward. Atma Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam, consciousness. Chaitanyam, sentiency. Chaitanyam, life. Chaitanyam, life principle. Vitality. Atma Chaitanyam. The self, which is the existence, consciousness, and bliss by nature. Atma Chaitanyam. Ashrityam. Ashraya, depending upon. Having dependent upon. Ashritya. Having dependent upon. Who are they? Deha means this phenomenal body. Indriya, 5 sense organs and 5 action organs, and mind, body, and intellect. These are the senses of human beings. So, Dehendriya Manodhyaha. Manaha means mind. Dhi means intellect. So, body, senses, mind, intellect. What do they do? What
It
do they
depends.
do?
It depends on Atma Chaitanya.
First, they take a support of Atma Chaitanya with associate, they become associate with Atma Chaitanya. They took, we can say that they take a sentiency from the self,
Current.
Atma Chaitanya. Among all the senses, the intellect has a tremendous power. In intellect, as a unique power. For what? It is pure, it is subtle, therefore, the reflection takes place in the only and only intellect. So, the sentiency appear in the intellect. Then intellect becomes sentient. As though, as though intellect becomes sentient. Because this sentiency is borrowed from the self. This sentiency has taken from the self. The supreme consciousness and its reflection takes place in the intellect because of intellect is subtle, pure, and it has an ability and capability to receive the reflection of the consciousness. The same verse we have studied before. The light of sun is falling everywhere. But the reflection of the sun takes place in only one place. That is the intellect. The sun, the light of the sun is everywhere, but reflection takes place in mirror only. In the same way, supreme consciousness pervades all things and beings, but its presence will experience in intellect only. In the same way, Dehendriya Manodhyaha, all these the senses are depending upon the consciousness self. Okay. Then what does they do? I said, okay, each sense engages itself in its object. Swakriyartheshu. So, one's own. Kriya, motion, action, activity. Artheshu, in their respective object. It means eyes engage in its object. I see the color and form. It means eyes are functioning smoothly in the field of form and color. So we can say that swakriyartheshu vartante. They remain in their field. They start activity towards their object. So all senses runs behind the objects. And this is the nature of each senses. You can say that the ear runs behind the words. Tongue runs behind the taste. Eyes run behind the color and forms. Each sense move towards its own object. Dhaneshwar Maharaj says that Vishya vachuni kahi sarvata ramya nahi ऐसा स्वभावची पाही इंद्रियांचा. The nature of the senses are like that. They run behind the objects in their particular respective object. So Shankaracharya says that Swakriyartheshu vartante. They run behind their respective objects. Swakriyartheshu. They want to fulfill their own tendency. Because behind the senses, there is a very great pressures of the vasana. That vasana collected together in previous life. And according to that vasana, desire arises. And desire pushes senses through the mind. And then the senses run behind the objects. Therefore, swakriyartheshu vartante. They function in their field due to fulfill their tendencies to enjoy the object. Who do this? Deha. Body want to fulfill its wish. Indriyaha. 5 sense organs, 5 actions organs. They engage themselves in their particular field of the objects to have an experience. Experience takes place only the contact between the subjects and the senses. When senses meet to the object, then experience takes place. An experience of what? Experience of pain, experience of pleasure. This pain and pleasure, this experience is possible only when subject and senses meet together. From that intermingling, the new products comes out, and that is called the pleasure of pain and pleasure, the experience of the pain and experience of the pleasure. Therefore, swakriyartheshu vartante. They function in their field of the object since many lives. They have a experience. Moment they saw the object, they run behind it. The moment cat sees the rat, runs behind that rat. The cat may belongs to rich person, poor person, king, whatever it may be. The moment she sees the rat, she runs behind it because the tendency gave the training to that body. Oh, moment you see the object, run behind it. It is a Vishayabhyas. The Vishayabhyas had completed in many lives before. So we can't say that he's a jnani, he's the ajnani. The moment the senses sees the object, they run behind it. Then that senses may belong to the knowledgeable person. The senses may belong to ignorant people. No. Like a cat. Whose cat? That is not important. Moment she see the mouse or rat, she run behind it. Our senses are like a rat, like a cat. So we do not give the chance to senses. Therefore, we should have a control on our senses, our mind and intellect. 24 hours. Moment we neglect, they escape and run away from us, and they will go in their particular field.
Kriyarteshu.
Swakriyartheshu vartante. They want to fulfill their wish. They want to fulfill their desire. They want to fulfill their subtle tendency which existed in the mind. And mind pushes the senses, because behind the mind there is a vasana. The vasana creates the desire. Desire manifests through the mind. Mind pushes the senses, and senses run behind the objects. This is a cycle. So Shankaracharya says that Swakriyartheshu vartante. They functioning in their object to fulfill their desire. Okay. What Shankaracharya want to say in this phrase? They want to say that as though senses are functioning independently in their field, because we see the sentiency in them. Eyes are seeing, ear is listening, tongue tasting and speaking, leg walking, hands taking and giving. It means these activity we see in the senses, and it means the senses have the sentiency independently, and therefore they do work in their particular field. Shankaracharya said that no, you see the hot water, but the hotness is not nature of the water. The hotness of the water came from outside. Behind the water, there is a vessel. Behind the vessel, there is a fire. And fire gives the heat to that vessel. Vessel gives heat to water. And therefore, you see the water is hot. And if you put the rice in the water, we'll see the rice are just boiling there. And if you touch it, you feel that this is very hot. Because the nature hotness is belonging only to the fire. Fire gives heat to everybody. So we see the heat in them, but that heat belongs to the fire. In the same way, sentiency we see in mind, body, and intellect, and they start functioning in particular field, but this sentiency is borrowed from the Atma Chaitanya. So, they are not dependent to work in their particular field. They depend on the self. They depend on the consciousness. Therefore, Atma Chaitanyam Ashritya. In traveling, we say that, oh, bus came here. Bus came in this station. Oh, bus gone. Bus went from here. Bus is inert, insentient. The bus doesn't have a power to move one place to another place. But when you see the moment in the bus, you should understand there is some person who has a sentiency, and that sentient person drive the bus. Therefore, that bus is moving one place to another place. The sentiency is borrowed from the man. In the same way, this body is like a bus. This body runs here and there 24 hours, stations to stations. It takes halts, different stations. And we say that, oh, he's in, I'm at in home. He's on the station. I'm in the bus. I'm in aeroplane. I'm somewhere. It means we give the descriptions of our existence of the body. So body moves one place to another place continuously because it has a sentiency. And that sentiency has taken from the self. And self reflects in the intellect. Then intellect become sentient. And that intellect give the sentiency to the mind, to the senses, and entire whole structure of the body. And then we say, he is alive now. That liveness belongs to the consciousness, belongs to the Atman. So therefore, Dehendriya Manodhiyaha Atma Chaitanyam Ashritya. Having dependent upon the self, all senses are functioning smoothly in their particular field. Swa karyartheshu vartante.
Even though they
Example,
are opposite in nature, they are doing their activities in particular harmony.
we say that there is a coordination
Hmm.
because the coordinator, self is a coordinator. Therefore, we say the coordination in them because they each have their own different field. They don't interfere to each others.
Hmm.
Seeing is the function of the eyes. Hearing is the function of the ears. Speaking is the function of speech, tongue. Walking is the function of legs. They cannot interfere work to each other.
Their existence is complementary to each other.
Yeah. So behind all the activities, there is a consciousness. So eyes are depend on self. Total body depends on the self. Deham ashritya. Atma chaitanyam ashritya. Dehendriya manodhiyaha. Swakriyartheshu vartante. Suryalokam yatha jana. Yatha janaha suryalokam. When sun rises in east, all people wake up. Is it true?
Rising is different thing.
Waking up is.
The moment sun rises from the east, all the birds start chirping.
Nature wake ups. That's for sure.
All birds wake up when sun rises in Purva Disha. The exception is only human being. Sun eagerly waiting to the all people when they will wake up. In previous time, all people used to wait when sun will rise. But now, sun has to wait all of us. When my dear will wake up? Oh, my dear, wake up. So the sun sends his rays on the earth, and through that rays, he wakes up the entire cosmos. So entire cosmos starts their work due to the light of the sun. So all activities of the world are depend on the light of the sun. In the same way, all the activities of the senses depends on the self, which is the existence, consciousness, and bliss by nature. People come and talk with us. This is the not greatness of that people. The greatness is of the supreme consciousness. Supreme consciousness exists in us. Therefore, many people interact with us. Otherwise, they are ready to take us in Smashan Bhumi, cremation ground.
That is also
They do
because of
not
that
do
only.
anything.
That
They do
thing is
not do
also.
anything. They do not do these things because the grace and blessing of the consciousness following continuously on us. Therefore, they see the sentiency in our entire structure of the body. So we can say that we are sentient. But this sentiency is borrowed from Chaitanya, Supreme Consciousness. Okay. After listening everything, what do you understand? Okay. Mind, body, intellect, and senses are inert, insentient. They do not have a capacity to do something independently. Each and every moment of the senses, mind, body, and intellect depend on the sentiency of self. And I am that self. So we should identify himself with supreme consciousness. We should not identify himself with mind, body, and intellect. Because when I say I, means I belongs to the consciousness. I do not belong to mind, body, and intellect. Moment you identify with mind, body, and intellect and say that this is my identity, the problem will start there. Many expectation will come towards you when you say, I am the husband, I am the doctor, I am the professor, I am engineer. So all the responsibility comes to you when you identify with mind, body, and intellect. Then merits and demerits will create. But when you disassociated with mind, body, and intellect, then merits and demerits will not arise. When you sleep, when you are in deep sleep, there is no papa and there is no punya. Because there is no identification with mind, body, and intellect. Body does many things in the sleep, deep sleep state. But from that activities, the punya will not create. Merits will not create. The sin will not create. Because action is there, but result is not there. Why? Because disassociation, detachment, we are detached from the body.
Desireless working.
Yes, desireless working. No papa, no punya. And we are not responsible of everything. People say that, no, he's in sleep and accidentally happens this. In the same way, when we are in waking state and disassociated from the mind, body, and intellect, then we are completely attached to the supreme consciousness. And by the presence of that supreme consciousness, body may does anything. But we are not responsible for them. That is called Jivan Mukta. So while doing everything, we are free from everything. So we are liberated from everything. We have to do the abhyas, we have to the practice in our sit of meditation. While 10 minutes, 20 minutes, try to conceive the idea by the intellectually. Oh, I may exist in the body, mind, intellect, but slowly, slowly, detached from the senses, detached from the mind, detached from the intellect, detached from the entire body, and see the experience that you are existing, you have existence, but we are not related to the body. While remaining in the body, we are not associated with body. While remaining in the body, we are apart from the body. And this type of practice, if you continuously long time, then and then will become the witness of everything. And witness is that one who does not take part of anybody. One who sees only. But all the activities are not related to the observer. The consequence will not come toward the witness. So, I am the witness. I am the consciousness. I am the nature of sentiency. And this sentiency I give to intellect, to mind, to senses and body. And taking this sentiency from me, they become able to function in their particular field. Just as the light of sun falls on the earth and all the beings awake and start their day-to-day function in their particular field. So our activities depend on the sun. Nowadays, people working day and night continuously. But most of work happens only the daytime.
Efficient work.
Yeah. So night is for resting and day is for working. In the day, we have to work and in the night, we have to rest. Why? Because sunrises gives energy. Sunset, there is no energy. Oh, I lost my energy. I have to sleep. Because when sun sets, the energy takes with him. When
Actually,
sun rises, energy arises with that sun. And that energy we take from him. And by energeting, by that great energeting, we start our function. So all the activities of the people depend on the light of the sun. In the same way, all the activities of the mind, body, and intellect depend on the sentiency of supreme consciousness. And I am that supreme consciousness by nature. So Atma Chaitanyam Ashritya Dehendriya manodhyaha swakriyartheshu vartante suryalokam yatha jana. What do you want to say? Do you want to say anything?
No, it is just like magnet.
Ah.
You know, when magnet comes in contact with iron body, then that iron body it also act as a magnet. But when so just like this, so sentiency it is a magnet, and Atma Chaitanya is a magnet, and when the senses comes in contact with that Atma Chaitanya, itself it act as Atma Chaitanya.
But
They are not in the
it
presence of
act,
that only. In the
it
presence of
act,
that only,
it act like that.
like that,
Like that.
like that is important.
Yeah. But they don't have their own sentiency. We see the light in the bulb or tube. Light and tube, this is the just medium through which them light expresses. The electricity expresses through different type of equipments. In the same way, mind, body, and intellect, these are the equipments through them the power of sentiency expresses.
It's a part of thermodynamics. In chemistry and physics, there is a vast subject that is thermodynamics. Dynamics means what? Moving, and thermo means heat or energy. So it moves from one place to another, and it expresses, it exists in different way, where there is a special kind of instruments are there.
So this is a special instrument, mind, body, and intellect.
Yes. It's a very unique instrument.
So while studying the Atma Bodha, we are studying chemistry, physics, and biology also. Because spirituality is the science of mother of all sciences. And the mother gives the attributes to their children, her children's.
He loves all the subject. She loves all the subject.
Yeah. Because all branches of the knowledge are like children.
It is originated from the same thing. Atma
Yeah.
Chaitanya Ashrit.
So each and every moment we have to remember we depend on Atman. This is not complete sentence. I am the Atman. This is a complete sentence. So
Yes.
body, mind, and intellect depend on the sentiency of the consciousness. And I am that consciousness. We should not forget that I am the part of the consciousness. I am not part of the mind, body, and intellect. Mind, body, and intellect functions because of me. I am sentiency by nature. Sentiency is my nature. Knowledge is my nature. Existence is my nature. I exist.
Omnipotent. It's
Yeah.
omnipotent, omnipresent.
I exist without any support. So I have an independent existence. I have an independent consciousness. I have an independent bliss. I have this sentence also we cannot compose because I am existence, consciousness, and bliss by nature. Moment you use the language, we see some defect in the language. Therefore, this experience is beyond the language. Language creates problem to analyze this experience. Therefore, the great realized master says that this experience is beyond the language. I cannot express this experience through this mind and body intellect. They have their own limitation. They can't explain this tremendous experience.
They cross all these things. It cross all these things.
While remaining the well, the frog thousands times may imagine that how is the ocean? Ocean may be 1,000 times bigger than this well. Thousands and thousands times bigger ocean is. But this is not true. We have to take that frog and throw in the ocean and then tell, oh ocean, how big is this ocean? Did you imagine so many times? The frog will say that all my imagine power had a limitation. And when I came in the ocean and now swimming very happily, so I cannot describe how much ocean is bigger than well. So while remaining in the well of mind, body, and intellect, we cannot experience the happiness is like ocean, happiness of the consciousness is like ocean. So we have to disidentify with mind, body, and intellect and jump into the ocean of consciousness. Then see the great, unexplicable, undescribable bliss of the consciousness. When this time come in the life of the seeker, he will dance, enjoy, and sing. Oh, I have dropped my wrong and false identification with mind and body, and I completely become one with my own soul, true nature. I am the happiest person in this world. These types of expression we may see in the life of enlightened person. So I am that supreme consciousness, existence, and bliss. And everything depends on me. I do not depend on anything. Atma Chaitanya Mashritya. It shows that Dehendriya Manodhiya depends on me. It means everything depends on me. But I do not depend on anything. I have independent existence. I am independent. I am
That is the real
independent.
meaning of independent.
I am independent. And all of you dependent on me. You depend on me. I'm not dependent on you. I'm independent. So this is the bliss. This is the enlightenment.
By taking the support of independent thing, they act like independent.
They are, yes, they act like the independent. They borrowed the independency. So Atma Chaitanya Ashritya Dehendri Manodhya Swakriyarthish Vartante Surya Lokam Yatha Janaha. Okay, this much is sufficient today. Each verse gives a glimpse, new glimpse. We'll read together and we'll conclude with here. Atma Chaitanya
Chaitanyamashritya Dehendriya Manodhyah Swakriyarthi Martante Suryalokam Yatha Janaha.
Purnamadaha Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate Purnasya
Purnamadayo Purnamevavashishyate. Hari Om Shanti
Shanti. From today, we have to say that I am the happiest person in this world. For the happiness, I cannot depend on anything. Everything depends on me for the happiness.